Hello, everybody. Let's get started. First, thank everybody for coming to this great event. Before we get started, last year we did not get to have the King of Kohl with the COVID situation, and the year prior, 2019, I was asked to fill in for Rick Henderson as he was not able to be here. Big shoes that I could not fill. And I'd like to take a moment of silence for Rick before we start this event to honor him. So if you could please take a moment of silence and we could take for him. Thank you. Thank you. Well, welcome. My name is Jeff Adams, and I'm a member of the Roslyn City Council and a member of the Roslyn Ronald Clelm Heritage Club. Both my grandfathers were coal miners here, part of a multi-generational family that my family started in 1886. I'm proud to be and carry on the traditions and memories of the families who labored in the mines and worked to support the local mining history and industry here. 25 years ago, the dedication ceremony for this memorial of the coal miners and their families. A year later, the Coal Miners Festival was started by the Roslyn Business Association under the chairmanship of Nick Henderson, who now serves as the chair of the Heritage Club. The Roslyn Clelm Heritage Club was founded in 1987 at a social breakfast club and later formalized in 1995. When it was incorporated as a nonprofit organization. The Roslyn Ronald Heritage Club was founded in 1987. Oh, I just read that again, sorry. There you go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speak to our mission for the Roslyn Ronald Heritage Club. I don't think we've done that before. So to preserve and maintain the Coal Miners Memorial and give the voice to the proper and rightful protection and preservation of the historic cemeteries. To preserve, memorialize, and communicate our community's rich ethic and cultural history to citizens and visitors. To employ cultural activities and honor and celebrate our community's heritage. And that is our mission. Our vision is to create an environment that grows membership by encouraging the participation of members of the community and descendants of early immigrants. To create a cultural celebration designed to honor the heritage of various ethnic groups who came to this area in search of a better life for their families. And that is our vision. And lastly, our value statement. The values we hold dear were instilled by us by our hardworking ancestors. Most left the security of their homeland and accepted the risk of crossing the vast oceans and continents to arrive in an uncertain future in this new community of Roslyn, Washington. They took pride in their new country and worked hard to learn the language and build a new life. They endured hardships and sacrificed to ensure our lives would be better than the ones they left in the old country. Most labored in the coal mines under the most primitive, dangerous conditions. They knew all too well that death was never far away in a cool, harsh environment in which they lived and worked every day. They found comfort, pride, companionship for lodges, security they provided for the community it cared for. The sick were visited, the widows and orphans looked in on, and their cemeteries were maintained. The love, the traditions of our ancestors and joys have been passed along to those of us in home, in the books they wrote, in the music they loved. And that is our value statement. This ceremony is an extension of traditions, and we thank you for joining us. Please stand for the VSW pound 1373, and we will now post the colors. Thank you. Now sit down. In recognitions of the Queens present, I would like to recognize Queen, Pioneer Queen, Rose Bata. We are now going to stand for the national anthem. This is Juliana. She will do our singing for us today.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And I apologize for my note error there. Okay, so at this point, I would like to read the past King of Kohl's recipients. In 1999, John Farrow. In 2000, Frank Cerny. 2001, Joe Osbolt. 2002, Tony Minerich. 2003, Bob Punich. 2004, Fred DeLont. 2005, Joe Mealis. In honor of Joe Mealis, who is my grandfather, I will be putting on his King of Kohl hat today. In 2006, Marion Maris. 2007, Joseph Lawachi. 2008, Ed Warkey. 2009, Samuel Craven. 2010, Elmer Dolosky. 2011, John Volovich. 2012, the Barrich family. 2013 were the miners that died in the mines. 2014, Gib Rushton. 2015, Marcy Bagachis. 2016, the Chapota family. 2017 was canceled from the Jolly Mountain Fire. We were not able to do the event. 2018 was Jeff O'Shaughnessy and the O'Shaughnessy family. 2019 was Darwin Canyer. And 2020 was canceled at that time. And at this point, I'd like Julianne to come up and sing again.
I thought this would be appropriate to honor towards all of our lost fallen people and what all this weekend's about, so. I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And all the broken-hearted people living in this world agree there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Thank you, Juliana. That was wonderful. I'd like to now introduce Nick Henderson, the chair of the Roslyn Clallam Heritage Club.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm glad you got out here, and I'm glad we got a nice day. It is my job to crown our King Kohl. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about mining. My grandfather was a miner. My dad went to work at number 9 and got as far as the portal and watched the cars disappear over what they called the knuckle, and turned around and went back and gave his hat back at the lamp house, and that was as close as he got. But this is a little story Joe Loachi Sr. wrote years ago, and we've got it on a plaque at the museum, and it talks about a mining tool which is usually on display, but right now we're getting some additional things engraved on it. But it said, it goes like this. This tribute honors the coal miners of America and the tool that helped them make us the greatest nation on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, neighbors and friends, there are with us today a few old coal miners who will recognize the tool as the coal miner number 2 shovel. I can remember the old timers when mine had the freezer shop open here, and those guys would talk about the number 2 Murphy special. Murphy was one of the superintendents of the mine. It says, this shovel is not just an old shovel, this is the shovel. And thousands like it in the strong, capable hands of our fathers and their fathers before them, shovel their way into history books of this great nation. Our forefathers with this shovel fueled the great industrial revolution that made this nation the greatest nation this world has ever seen. Our forefathers, excuse me, shoveled the coal that pushed our railroads across this great nation, ocean to ocean. Shovels like this one and other strong, capable hands drove our ocean-going vessels across the oceans and seas and made us the greatest maritime nation on earth. Our miners with this shovel fueled our factories, warmed our schools and homes, and gave thousands of our people an honest livelihood out of the coal mines. Folks, as I said, this is not just a shovel, it is the shovel. Our forefather miners changed the entire world with it, and don't ever forget them and their tool. God bless America and the coal miners who helped make it. So this year, it gives me great pleasure to ask one of our local guys that I've always known as Junior. If Junior Cerny could please come up so we can crown him and tell a little story here. Congratulations, bud. So this is a nomination that was done by his sister-in-law. John Cerny Jr. represents a long line of coal miners, his grandfather, his dad, his uncles, and himself. It all started with Franjo Cerny, who immigrated from Croatia in about 1901. He, his wife Antonia, and daughter Catherine settled in Carthage, New Mexico, where Franjo worked in copper mines. In 1905, John was born. The family moved to Cle Elum in 1908, and here 9 more children were born. Franjo worked at the Independent mine. The Independent was a coal mine on the east end of Cle Elum, kind of down behind the Centennial Center. In 1931, John Cerny married Rose Cerkovich. John Sr. worked at several mines in the area, including the Independent, number 5, and number 9. For many years, John Sr. served as the secretary of the United Mine Workers Union. He made a trip to Chicago to represent the local union in the early 1950s. John Sr.'s last mining job was at number 9, where he was one of the last ones when it closed. At one point, John and his brother Joe went to Alaska to mine. Joe was killed in a mining accident in Alaska, and John's brother Frank was also worked in the local mines, number 7 in Roslyn, NWI, and in Alaska for 5 years. So John Jr. was born in 1933 in their home at the town of number 5. I don't know if any of you know, but there was a town between here and Cle Elum at the number 5 mine. John lived his whole life in the Upper County. He worked 3 summers at the number 9 mine when he was still in high school. John was drafted into the Army immediately after high school graduation. Later, John Jr. went to work for Segali Construction and retired from there. John and his wife, Barb, now live up near Lake Cle Elum. John was in the coal mines in high school, digging coal. I dug graves with Willie when I was in high school and thought that was bad enough. I can't imagine doing it underground. Above ground was enough. So John, it gives me great pleasure to present you with your crown, King Kohl 2021, John Jr. Cerny. And so you can properly rule over your kingdom. This is your scepter. When you need to get their attention. Everybody, there's our King Kohl. That goes on the wall. John, hold on. I think you're washing the tractor head off of that one. Okay, now we can have Bernie O'Donnell come up and he's going to tell a few stories. So let's see, that might have to be yielded now.
Get over here. Get over here. Just because you're a king, doesn't. Well, thank you, everybody, and thanks, Nick, and Jeff Adams, and Maria, and Juliana for the great music, and I think there's more to come. And really, thanks a lot to the Heritage Club, and everybody that's here today. This is a king deserving of it for sure. So thanks on behalf of the family. I'm just going to say a few words, and I'm going to turn it over to the king. He is king. He should say a few words, right? So if the stories get too long, we'll cut you off. But we're going to make you say a few words. No. So, but first, I just want to say a couple things. So, first of all, thank you for bestowing Kohl royalty to John Cerny Jr. He's known in these parts of the world mostly as Junior. I know him as my stepdad. He's my dad, and so if you can get him out of the garage, if you can get him off his tractor, if you can get him away from the burn pile where he's burning the pine needles, and get him out to lunch. We took, I don't know, a year or so ago, the family went to lunch at the winery out here where the number 9 mine entrance is, and we took a photo in front of that. And that's when the story started. You know, that behind that gate, that shaft goes down quite a ways at an angle, and then it opens up into a big vein, a series of veins that are giant rooms, including all the way as far as here is what you tell me, underneath the brick and all that. So for a lot of us that don't know that, haven't been in the mines, and to hear some of those stories, it's quite impressive as to what this area was and the hard work that happened back in the day, the risks that the miners took, and the opportunities that they had to really build this community the way it is. I graduated here in 1985. Mr. Fred Kruger was the local history teacher. He taught local history, and I was fortunate to learn a little bit about the local history, and I'm not sure that this generation has a lot of that knowledge to really understand the tons and tons of coal that came out of here, and that this place really is a microcosm of the melting pot of the United States. You can go up to the cemetery and you can see that for sure. So Junior was born in the number 5, the town of number 5. He worked in the coal mines for 3 summers as a high schooler, and ever since 1980, we've lived up in the Lake Clayelum area, right around where Joe Krosich lives. If you guys are familiar with Joe Krosich. So the Upper County has been his home for all these years. He married my mother, Barbara Cerny, in 1980 at the age of 47. So he married my mom and he inherited 6 kids. So he was 41 years old at the time. If you think coal mining business was hard on a person, try inheriting 6 kids and a wife at the age of 47. So while he's King Kohl today, and really what a prestigious honor it is today, thank you very much on behalf of the family. He's been king of the family for 41 years, and we wouldn't have had it any other way. So with that, I'd like to introduce the King of Kohl, John Cerny Jr., to say a few words.
I don't know. Well, I'm very honored to get this, and Bernie talking. If I didn't have to fight with the kids and that, I would have never made it. But they're all good kids, and good wife. She's always keeping me busy, and I'm happy.
Got any good examples of what you were telling the reporter?
What's that?
Some of the good stories about the old days.
Things are a lot different here now than they were then. To Roslyn here 60 years ago or 70, you see smoke coming out all the chimneys. And that was a nice sign. But I guess the environment, everybody got electric stoves and that. But nobody in the county, I don't think in the Upper County here had electric stove until the 50s. And they all like to cook on the wood stoves. They couldn't cook if they had electric stove. Too easy, I guess. I remember my mother getting up to get me to go to work, and my dad, and she'd have to get up an hour before us to light the fire in the stove and cook the coffee and cook the breakfast, and things were much different, and I think they were a lot better than now.
Anything else particular about the mines or your first day?
And, well, when I went down number 9, I got on the car, the first car in the trip that goes down, and it went over the knuckle, and you'd swear you were hanging there. It was so steep, that slope. 40 or 38 degrees, I think, something like that. Go down, I went clear to the bottom, the straight incline, come up here, and we were working under there, and Andy Zimba told me we're going through the old shaft mine, one of the old tunnels that come off the shaft mine entries. And we went through, and there was shovels down there and coal cars, and that was right under the brick, he said. That's where it was at, about 500 feet under. And it was just like they left it when the mine exploded, because they weren't working on, when the guys got killed in the mine here, it was on a weekend. But it's lucky that was all left down there, or there's probably been bodies down there, because it was all caved in. And that was my most interesting thing in the mine. I went through there, it was so eerie that you could just see the old timers, and everybody took care of you in the mine. We had Italians, Croatian, Englishmen, it was a melting pot of the country, and they'd take care of you. They make sure you didn't walk under a rock and get nailed, you know, because you get killed pretty easy in there. But then you worked, you shoveled. I probably shoveled 20 ton of coal a day or something like that, maybe. But, every day. And my dad was pretty close. He was running the hoist out there, and he'd always make sure I was doing what I was supposed to do, and I did. But you couldn't work with better guys in the mine, and I had to work with. They all took care of you just like you were their own. I mean, and there wasn't no fighting, no arguing, and they all worked too. But I think that was my favorite experience when we went through the old workings here, one of the old entries where the mine exploded, and they left it just like it was when they didn't go back in there anyway, because we found stuff in there that they left there 60 years before. And then number 5, I remember a little bit of that. Living there, I was a baby, or 2 years old when we left there and come to Roslyn and then Cleellum. And that was quite a town too. But my mother and I think my uncles, Krankoviches, they all went to school there. I think they quit in the 8th grade. They never went past the 8th grade. But they migrated from Montana, and the Cerny side come from Mexico, New Mexico. And my grandfather and some of my uncles worked in the mine. And they were both big families. The Cerny family had about 15 kids, and the Krankovich family had 5. But that's the way it was then, and everybody's happy, and everybody was around is still happy. So this is a good place to grow up in, and never left. Okay.
let's now have the family place the wreath. Come on up and have you all place the wreath with your dad. If you'd like, you could all come up. If not, take pictures. Let's give them a big applause. Take your time. Get as many pictures as you want for your family. Okay, let's have Juliana come up and sing one more time.
Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I wanna tell you how much I love you. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I wanna tell you how much I love you. Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you how much I love you.
At this time, we will announce that we're going to play taps to acknowledge the miners that have dedicated their time and all the miners that have passed away. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to get to closing the event. And I'd like to thank the following people who made this event possible. If you'd stand up or wave your hand, that'd be great. The Heritage Club Board of Director, Nick Henderson. Dick Watts. Judy Plesha. Tony Fields. Past Director, Laura O'Shaughnessy. Officers Maria Adams, President. Tracy DePota, Vice President. Jana Bland, Treasurer. Patricia Garris, our Secretary. Darren O'Shaughnessy for providing and setting up the music and sound. Fred Tallarico with the Clelm Roslyn BFW 1373. Jeannie Precious for making the beautiful wreath. The entire Cerny family, thank you for showing up. Also, a quick thank you to the volunteers, Braven Benzak, Daniel Benzak, Mike Adams, and Gail Picton. Okay, Juliana's going to play some of her beautiful music while we have a chance to mingle and socialize the next bit of time. Refreshments are over at the tent and over at the Redbird Cafe. Coffee is provided by the Redbird Cafe and the cookies from the Clelm Bakery. So a big thank you to the Redbird Cafe and the Clelm Bakery for providing the goods. The Roslyn Ronald Heritage Club was formed to honor the many diverse cultures who came together in this beautiful area on the east slopes of the Cascades, and each of us to pursue the peace of American dream. Although the mines closed a long time ago, our club seeks to that rich, diverse heritage to keep it alive. Thank you for coming and supporting our heritage and the history here. Thank you. That'll be the end of the event. Thank you.